Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. As 2025 is now well underway, the Premier League action continues, and this afternoon at Craven Cottage we see Fulham host newly promoted Ipswich for a game which can see Fulham push closer to the European spots and Ipswich try and climb out of the bottom three for the first time since November. Fulham are now in their fourth season under Marco Silva and are now a settled Premier League side after many years of bouncing between the top flight and the Championship. But now, after constructing a high-quality squad, the Cottagers are aiming for a European finish for the first time since the 08-09 season. Ipswich are enjoying their first season back in the Premier League for 23 years. Despite 10 losses from their opening 19 league games, they have picked up 3 impressive wins, with the first away at Spurs in November, a last-gasp 3 points at Wolves in mid-December, and a professional display at home last time out to Chelsea. These two have already met at Portman Road at the end of August, and it finished all square with a 1-1 draw. A 15th minute goal by Delap was cancelled out 17 minutes later by Adama Traore. So, for both of these two teams being their first game of the new year, will Fulham extend their unbeaten run to 8, or can the Tractor Boys pick up a third away win in the league this season? Like I say, Fulham are in a good run at the moment, unbeaten in their last 7, but within those last 7 games that all were played in December, they only won 2 of them. They have drawn the other 5, but they're still picking up points. They're not losing, but I'm sure Marco Silva will be slightly frustrated at times that some of those draws weren't made into wins. 4 of the last 5 games were draws, and maybe a few frustrating draws. One of them has got to be Southampton at home in game week 17. That'll be one that will just slightly annoy Marco Silva because, of course, Southampton are struggling so much, conceded 5 yesterday at home to Brentford. So the fact that was a 0-0 draw, that's 2 points drop. They also had a draw against Bournemouth at home last time out. Again, the frustration will more be the fact that they were at home, not the fact that they ended up drawing to Bournemouth, because they are a very good side this season. But I think a part of the annoyance of that draw against Bournemouth was the fact that they conceded in the 89th minute to drop another 2 points. So just in the last couple of weeks, Fulham could have potentially have been 4 points better off than they already are now. 4 points for them would have put them on 33 points, and that puts them just 3 points behind 4th place. So it feels like for Fulham so far, it's just a little bit. It's a season of just. It feels like they're just missing out at the moment. Like I say, a couple of those draws could have been wins, but not to be so far. And in fairness, Fulham have only lost 14 league games so far this season, which I think is really impressive. 2 at home, 2 away. The 2 at home have been against Wolves again. Another result which has got to be frustrating for Marco Silva. That was during a time as well where Wolves were really struggling under Gary O'Neill, and they also lost in the middle of October at home to Aston Villa. But just 1 loss in their last 11 in the Premier League for Fulham. Does mean that they are in and around the European spots. They currently sit 9th at the moment, but that's of course because a lot of the teams above them played yesterday. So a win for Fulham would put them into 8th position above Aston Villa, but they'd be 1 point away from 7th, 2 points away from 6th. So they are right in amongst it, Fulham. And for Ipswich, the away team today, they are fully focused on survival if possible. They are currently 18th in the league, just inside the relegation spot, but a win today would take them out of the relegation zone ahead of Wolves, who play on Monday night at home to Forest. If they draw, they would stay in the relegation zone, Ipswich, and that would be on goal difference. But they've not had the worst of starts, I think, in the Premier League. I think they've been very unlucky in a lot of their games, drawing 6 of their first 19. They've won twice on the road against Wolves and Spurs. Picked up 2 draws away as well in September against Brighton and Southampton. And in fairness, their away defeats haven't exactly been, to poor opposition. Arsenal away, Forest away, Brentford away, West Ham probably a little bit frustrating because they've not had a great season, but then again away early on in the season against Manchester City. So I definitely think they've held their own in their first season back in the Premier League. Ipswich Town, their first season since the 01-02 season. So here are both sets of starting 11s now. Of course, Fulham will be in their all-home kit, the white and black, and then for Ipswich, it does look like it will be their pink away kit this afternoon at Craven Cottage. Of course, they've had a new stand built. Apparently, cost around £80 million. Of course, Craven Cottage situated in West London. Has the River Thames flowing behind the ground, as the two sets of starting 11s will be led out onto the field of play by today's referee of Darren Bond, who began refereeing at the age of 15, a Wigan Athletic supporter, so wouldn't have been best pleased with his team's result yesterday, losing to Birmingham at home. But here are the two teams being led out by Tom Kearney, the Fulham captain, and Sam Morsey, the Ipswich Town captain. And for Sam Morsey, he has got the one goal so far this season. It was a 95th minute equaliser away at Southampton back towards the end of September. He did miss the Arsenal game away, yellow card suspension, and he is making his 149th Ipswich Town appearance. Like I say, these two met early on in the season and it ended in a 1-1 draw. Delap put Ipswich ahead, and then Adama Traore equalised before half-time. And they also met last season when Ipswich were back in the Championship, and it was in the fourth round of the League Cup. It was at the start of November 2023, and that was a 3-1 Fulham win. And Fulham went on to actually have a decent run as well in the League Cup. They got to the semi-final stage and took Liverpool quite close over the two legs when they beat Ipswich in the fourth round. They then beat Everton away in the quarter-final stage on penalties, and like I say, over two legs, just were beaten by Liverpool, who went on to win the League Cup. As we'll go through both sets of starting 11, and it's Bernd Leno to start in goal for Fulham. It is his 98th appearance for the club since joining in August 2022. It's going to be a back five of Timothy Castagne, who made his 50th Fulham appearance last time out at home to Bournemouth. On the left-hand side will be Anthony Robinson, and three centre-backs of Issa Diop, Joachim Andersen and Calvin Bassey, who also made his 50th appearance for the club in the last game at home here against Bournemouth. Two central midfielders of Sasha Lukic and Tom Kearney, the 33-year-old who comes in to play his 15th game in his career against Ipswich. He scored against them twice previously, one last season in the League Cup win, and also one in the FA Cup for Hull in a 3-1 home win back in January 2012. And then three up front on the right-hand side will be Harry Wilson, who's scoring a decent amount of goals so far this season, 5 altogether, 2 in his last 2 against Chelsea and Bournemouth, and he also scored 3 and 2 in November against Brentford and Crystal Palace. He's 1 goal off 25 for the club. On the left will be Alex Iwobi, who's making his 50th Fulham appearance in the Premier League. And up front, leading the line, will be Raul Jimenez, who's just 1 goal off his total tally he got from the entirety of last season. He got 7 last season. He's already on 6 for this campaign. For Ipswich, it is Christian Walton now in goal. He replaces Muric, who drops to the bench, the man they brought in from Burnley in the summer. Another 5 at the back formation on the right-hand side will be Ben Johnson. Right centre-back is Dara O'Shea. On the middle centre-back will be Luke Wolfenden. Next to him, Jacob Greaves. And on the left wing-back position will be Leif Davis, who's one of his 2 assists this season in the Premier League. Did come in the reverse fixture at home to Fulham. 2 central midfielders of Sam Morsey, who's already on 49 yellow cards for Ipswich during his time here at the club. Could he make it half a century of bookings? And next to him will be Jens Kajuste, who they've brought in on a loan from Napoli in the summer. There is a €13.5 million future fee if they want to activate that clause. And then through up front on the right will be Sammy Szmodics, who got the golden boot in the Championship last season with 27 goals. He's already got 3 in the Premier League, all the way from home, starting with Manchester City, then scoring at Brentford, and then most recently in their first Premier League win back, and that was away at Spurs. On the left-hand side will be Nathan Broadhead, who came through the Everton Academy. His first appearance this season was at the back end of November. He's now starting to pick up a couple of starts, 2 in a row now for him. His first, of course, in the last game against Chelsea. And up front, through the middle, will be Liam Delap, signed for £20 million in the summer. He's already got 7 league goals. He scored the penalty in the last game against Chelsea after winning the quite controversial penalty. Some didn't believe it was, some thought it was slightly soft, but the man who was formed with Manchester City is going to be looking to try and score some more goals this afternoon. He did score that 1 goal for Ipswich in the reverse game at Portman Road against Fulham. Can he score again today? And they are the 2 sets of starting 11s for Fulham. It's just 1 change from the Bournemouth game where Andres Pereira comes out for Tom Kearney, and for Ipswich they've made 2 changes. The man who scored against his former club, Amari Hutchinson, he's out of the squad today. He's been replaced by Sammy Smodics, and Wes Burns also drops to the bench, and Ben Johnson comes in, a more defensive-minded player, as Fulham will kick us off here, kicking left to right. Ipswich right to left. There's a diagonal ball out to the right. It's headed on by Jimenez towards Castagnet on the corner flag. Just kicked out of play there by Jacob Greaves, and in the final third on the near side, it'll be a Fulham throw-in as Sasa Lukic was just knocked to the ground there. He was blocking the run of Liam Delap, who tried to shut down Anderson, who was playing the original ball long towards Jimenez. Looked like he slightly got caught in the face, but he's back to his feet now. The Serbian central midfielder, who made his 50th Premier League appearance in the last game against Bournemouth in that 2-2 draw, is just under a minute in here. It's a Fulham throw-in, which will be taken. It's Lukic to get it to Castagnet, then back to Lukic, lifting it to Kearney, chested touch, goes back towards the halfway line here to Joachim Anderson, who goes all the way back there to Bernd Leno as he's being closed down there by Liam Delap. It's now Calvin Bassey on the far side as the left wing back, Anthony Robinson, into the centre of the park here to Tom Kearney, midway inside his own half. He goes back to Bernd Leno, who has a heavy touch out of his 18-yard box, but he can keep it away from Delap and goes to his right to Diop. It's on the near side in the defensive third for Castagnet. Now back through to the French centre-half of Issa Diop. He's now in the 6-yard box with Leno. To his left to Calvin Bassey, being closed down by Smodics. Goes forward to Kearney, who looks forward and plays a pass forward to Iwobi, who's drifted into a more central area. Then fires it out wide to the right-hand side here to Castagnet on the halfway line. Can play a ball into the middle here to Harry Wilson. And then back into his own half here to Issa Diop. And it's been a quick start here for Fulham in terms of possession on the ball. They're having plenty of it in the opening exchanges of this game. It's on the far side here with Calvin Bassey, formerly of Rangers, was part of the Rangers squad that did get to the Europa League final back in 2022, unfortunately lost on penalties. He also lost the Africa Cup of Nations final last year. Calvin Bassey for Nigeria played the full 90 minutes in that game. Born in Italy, Calvin Bassey moved to England as a child and has Nigerian parents, hence why he represents Nigeria at international level. Just over 2 minutes in here. Still 0-0, no real chances in the game, still Fulham just knocking the ball around, currently in their own half. Out to the far side here to Anthony Robinson, the American, born in Milton Keynes, but his dad was raised in the United States. As Anderson goes for a long ball up towards the edge of the box towards Harry Wilson, headed away by Greaves. Morsey battling with Iwobi, and Morsey will find the pass forward to Delap, who can turn away from Anderson, and the touch falls here to Broadhead in the centre of the park. He's got Smodics to his right and he'll find him. Sammy Smodics, first time ball across, cut out by Bassey, still alive here in the box. Bassey for the second time will kick it away from Smodics. And Ipswich on the break there, looking slightly dangerous. It was Delap who got the beat in there of Anderson as Iwobi's charging down the left-hand side here. Johnson's chasing him down all the way towards the byline. The touch is heavy. Iwobi keeps it in with a back heel, but it goes straight into the path of Ben Johnson. And it's Ipswich now 3 minutes in to have a little bit of possession of their own for the first time in the game. And just on the edge of the 18-yard box, it's with Jens Kajuste, the Swedish central midfielder. They've brought in on loan from Napoli. Does have Champions League experience, playing in the competition for Napoli and Midtjylland. There's Leif Davis. Short ball to Broadhead. Fulham wins it back on the near side. It's now with Sasa Lukic midway inside the Ipswich half. It's into a more central area to Kearney. Completes the 1-2 with Lukic. Still the Serbian central midfielder. Back out wide to the right-hand side to Castagnet. Into Lukic again. Jimenez drops in, looking for the ball. Lukic goes to his left instead to Kearney. And on the far side, it's Anthony Robinson forward from wing back, one-on-one with Johnson. Can he take him on the outside? He attempts to. Still with Robinson in the box. It's now Smodics getting involved and getting the tackle in and winning the ball back and clearing it low down the line for Ipswich. Can't quite reach Delap. Anderson gets there first, plays it forward to Bassey. That's now Iwobi about 25 yards out on the left-hand side. Facing up with Smodics. Goes out to the left here to Robinson. Inside to Kearney. Lukic. It's been all Fulham so far with the one counter-attack from Ipswich, just over 4 minutes in. Everyone behind the ball for Ipswich. It's on the halfway line with Issa Diop, their number 31, making his 70th appearance for the club. Turns 28 in 4 days' time. There's Bassey. Brings it forward, gets away from Smodics and beyond the halfway line and lays it off to his left here to Kearney, who's got a great ball in him if he can get the ball right, and it's just hit the roof of the net. Christian Walton, the goalkeeper, was watching it all the way. It'll be a goal kick for Ipswich. Just over hit there from Tom Kearney, the Fulham number 10, who has scored this season and sent off in the same game. He was brought on in the 62nd minute away at Spurs, scored in the 67th minute, and then was sent off in the 83rd. So it was quite the game for Tom Kearney. Starts today, came off the bench in the last 2 games they've played against Bournemouth at home and then Chelsea away. Long ball by Walton. It's played out wide by Delap to the right-hand side, but not quite on the same wavelength there. Ben Johnson, it's out for a throw-in for Fulham on the far side, midway side their own half. Going to have to do a lot of battling, I think, today. Liam Delap up front for Ipswich against Joachim Andersen, who returns to Fulham in the summer from Crystal Palace. Spent a loan spell here in the 2020-2021 season where he became captain within that season, Joachim Andersen, despite just being a loan player. It's Fulham on the ball in the Ipswich half towards the centre circle. It's a Diop, the right centre-back. Goes to his left there to Joachim Andersen, who played every minute for Denmark in the Euros in the summer just gone. Just under 6 minutes in, still 0-0 here at Craven Cottage. No big chance for either of the two sides so far, as Alex Iwobi finds Harry Wilson, who's got Castagnet to his right, and he finds him in the final third. Wilson has it back on that left foot of his, which is a magic wand at times. Looking for a cross into the box, possibly. He'll go for it. It's in the box, and it's headed away there by the Ipswich number 26 of Dara O'Shea, who they brought in the summer from Burnley for £15 million. It's not reached an Ipswich shirt, though. It's back with Fulham, still in the final third here. Plenty of pink shirts they have to try and play around, though, if they want to try and get the opening goal of the game. It's in the centre circle now with Issa Diop as Fulham restart from the back. Anderson brings it forward 10 yards and goes to his left here to Robinson, the left wing back. Bassey overlaps, but he lifts the ball into the box towards Iwobi. Header away by Wolfenden, up towards Smodics. Last touch off the American wing back, and it's an Ipswich throw-in. Well won there by Sammy Smodics, who now represents Ireland at international level. Got 10 appearances for Ireland, yet to score. His debut was in March 2024. He was born in Colchester, Sammy Smodics, and came through their academy for 17 years, left in 2019, and he's gone on to really fulfil his potential towards the latter stages of his 20s. Now at the age of 29, Smodics, he can't quite get the throw in there from O'Shea, loses out, and it's now Fulham back on the ball over 7 minutes in, still 0-0. It's Lukic forward to Jimenez, who drops in for the ball, and he can touch it nicely to Kearney, but tackled well by Morsey. It's now Smodics on halfway, finds Delap, who's running at Anderson here, about 30 yards from goal, turning away from Lukic. He gets pulled back by the Serbian, and that'll be a free kick for Ipswich Town. Well won there by Liam Delap. Ball slipped through to him, and he was twisting and turning, and just pulled there on the hip by Sasha Lukic. And it's an Ipswich set piece here. Darren Bond was quick there to whistle to give the free kick. It's about 30 or so yards out. It's kind of in line with the penalty spot, maybe just to the right of it, so there's not a great angle to work with. It's Sam Morsey, the captain, who stood over it. Like I say, just the 1 goal for him so far this season. Played at Fulham 6 times previously, the number 5, and he's yet to score against them or win against them. So not a great record for Sam Morsey against today's opposition, as I think it's a 5-man or is it a 4-man wall. It's lifted into the box. There's a cross to the far post. Davis, who gets it back across. Cannons off Castagnet. And it's now with Davis again on the near side. It's still alive here for Ipswich. It's Cayuste down the line to Davis. Angle here for a cross. He puts it in left foot. It's a brilliant ball in. And in the 6-yard box, it just avoids Sammy Smodics. And it does seem like Ipswich can score in this game. They've had a counter-attack a couple of minutes before, which could have been more dangerous than it resulted in. As a long ball there by Fulham. It's headed on by Jimenez. Can't quite find the run of Wilson in the box. Goes through to the goalkeeper of Walton. And just seems like the pace in this game is just starting to pick up 9 minutes in. Still 0-0. Both teams showing slight showings that they will be able to score in this game, because that's exactly what we want. The last 3 draws, in this fixture have been 1-1s, including the one earlier on this season. As it's Castagnet forward from win back in the final third. Plenty of time to find a cross. It's a lower one in. It's a diving header away by Davis. Up towards Delap on the edge of the box, who can play it to his left to Cayuste. He's now in the box with Davis. Goes to his goalkeeper of Walton, who takes no risks. First time left-footed clearance where Delap will chase it. Bassey needs to deal with it. The ball bounces, and Bassey deals with it well, keeping it away from Delap. And it's now restarting for Fulham with their goalkeeper, Bernd Leno, who signed a new contract in December of 2023 to keep his stay here till at least 2027. And I was having a research of the German goalkeepers' international stats, because obviously he came through the years where Manuel Neuer was Germany's number one, but Bernd Leno was able to rack up 9 appearances for Germany, but 70 games he has been on the bench for Germany from 2015 to 2024, so he certainly knows his position in the German national team, Bernd Leno, and that is mainly as the number 2. That's Joachim Andersen lifts it up to the halfway line to Jimenez, who chests it down and keeps it away from Cajuste, but then tackled by Broadhead. Big header away though by Andersen. Only finds Morsi, who finds the left centre back here of Jacob Greaves. It's now Davis back to the Ipswich goalkeeper in the 18-yard box. Well dealt with there by the 2 Ipswich Town defenders. It's still with the goalkeeper. Goes to his right here to Luke Wolfenden. Out to the right-hand side here to Ben Johnson. Plays it inside to Smodics. Back it goes here to Dar Roche. Gets there ahead of Iwobi and then sends a ball in behind there for Delap. It's overhit. And it goes through outside the 18-yard box there for Leno, who now finds the right wing-back of Timothy Castagne, who made 4 starts at the Euros for Belgium, as they were knocked out by France. Just the one Fulham goal for Castagne since joining last summer from Leicester. Currently making his 4th start in a row, as the other right wing back Kenny Tete is out at the moment with a shin injury. She'll be out for another 2 months, so the Belgian will be getting plenty of game time. It's on the halfway line with Issa Diop for Fulham. Having to be patient because Ipswich will be hard to break down. Just 2 clean sheets so far this season for Ipswich. One at home in the last game against Chelsea, but then the other one came away. 0-0 against Brighton in the middle of September. And in fairness, Fulham haven't done much better for clean sheets. They're on 3, one of them at home in that 0-0 draw to Southampton last month, as Castagne gets a ball across the box. And it's put behind on the 6-yard line by Jacob Greaves, the man they brought in from Hull in the summer for £18 million. It does look like that ball has gone out for a corner kick. It was Wilson playing it into the path of Castagne. And again, Greaves at the near post, putting it behind, making sure it doesn't reach the likes of a Raul Jimenez. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinger, it looks like, by Harry Wilson. In it goes, into the box, header into the air by Greaves, to the edge of the area to Lukic, who wants to volley it back into the far post here, where Bassey will let it run across his body, and he's now shielding it away from Leif Davis. Here is Bassey, 3 against number 3. Goes back here to Andersen, who will put a cross in himself here with his right foot. It's not a bad ball, it's a header into the air by Johnson. Headed away once more by Broadhead. Controlled by Delap, but tackled by Wilson in the central area. And just under 13 minutes in, Fulham will come again with Bassey on the left-hand side. Right-footed ball in towards Diop, headed away by Greaves. Controlled on the edge of the box by Broadhead, quickly cleared away, but towards absolutely nobody in a pink shirt. And it will be Fulham to restart in the centre circle here with Andersen. So number 20, Sasha Lukic, who's had to step up this season after the departure of João Palhinha, who left for Bayern Munich in the summer for £47.4 million. Brought in 6 new signings in the summer. As in the 13th minute here, Fulham and Ipswich applaud for Zach Little, a Fulham supporter who unfortunately passed away last year at the age of 13, as it is Castagne towards the byline, who gets a cross into the box. It's a volley away by Morsi out to the Fulham right, where Wilson slides in and keeps it away from Broadhead. It's now Lukic again, finds Iwobi, 25 yards out, goes out to the left to Bassey. An opening for a shot, but the cross he goes for instead deflects towards Robinson, as he can't quite keep it in because the slide challenge away from Johnson means it's going to be a Fulham throw-in instead on that far side towards the corner flag. It's Robinson with the ball in his 2 hands, and he throws it towards Iwobi, who glances it onto the edge of the box where no one in a Fulham shirt can get there, and Broadhead flicks it over Lukic. That's a brilliant bit of skill, and he now sends away Delap towards the left-hand side. Running here at Issa Diop, trying to get towards the final third here, has to just slow the play down and go back to Leif Davis, and it's now Ipswich in possession inside the Fulham half. It's on the halfway line with Luke Wolfenden, Got a contract up until the end of the year, but does have an extension of a year. If Ipswich want to extend that deal, as they're back in their own half here, Morsey just needs to be careful on the ball. Goes back to Wolfenden. Now to the right centre-back, Adara O'Shea, also an Irish international, Dublin-born. Does have 2 Premier League relegations to his name with West Brom. And Burnley is Kayuste. Is fouled from behind there by Lukic. He believes he's won the ball there, the Serbian. Just ticking over the 15th minute, still 0-0. Got away with that there, Jens Kayuste. Needs to be careful in the possession of the ball, not giving it away in poor areas. Thank you to everyone who is here. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. First commentary of 2025. Both of these 2 teams, this is their first game of the year. Ipswich coming into this game off that 2-0 win against Chelsea. Took the lead in the 12th minute, the penalty from Delap, and then Hutchinson also scoring in the 53rd minute. Ipswich had 9 shots that day compared to Chelsea's 20. But did fantastically to take away the 3 points. They've not drawn any of their last 7 games as well, Ipswich. So it is either they are winning or losing. There's no really in between for them. It's either 3 points or nothing. We're back in with the action here, and it's Lukic again fouling Broadhead in the centre circle, and again he's frustrated. I think just a little bit too physical there. Sasha Lukic, the man they brought in from Torino in the January of 2023, so now 2 years at the club. And he's racked up now 51 Premier League appearances, including today's Marco Silva there. I think also sharing his midfielder's frustration with the free kicks being given, and Marco Silva venting his frustration to today's 4th official of Andy Madley. As Ipswich have it on this near side, it's Greaves into the box towards Delap. Anderson will get there ahead of him, takes it outside the 18-yard box on this near side and clears it forward up towards Jimenez. And the last touch comes off the centre-back who was tracking him, who I believe was Wolfenden. And it'll be a throw-in for Fulham midway side of their own half on this near side, and it looks like it'll be taken by Timothy Castagne. And like I say, talking about drop points for Fulham, where it's probably points they shouldn't be dropping. Ipswich away, West Ham at home, Everton away, Wolves at home, Southampton at home. They are all games where Fulham have failed to win, and it's silly, draws and losses which can cost you those European spots, because Fulham will certainly look to try and get Conference League, Europa League minimum maybe, because they've got a brilliant squad. I like the squad they've assembled under Marco Silva. I feel like it's a really well-balanced, high-quality squad all the way round. There's not kind of any position where you would highlight it as weak, but they've got to be strong here as they defend against Delap, who tries to run into the box. It's brilliantly defended there by Issa Diop, who tries to play it to Jimenez on halfway, cut out by Greaves, into the middle of the park, now to Morsey, just in front of the centre circle. Completes a quick 1-2 there with Broadhead. And it's now with Dara O'Shea back into Morsey. Can he find a pass forward? He's going to go to the left instead here to Greaves. Worked under Liam Rosenior last year at Hull. Jacob Greaves, the club they have signed him from. He's penned a 5-year deal here at Ipswich, the 24-year-old English centre-back. There's Walton, the goalkeeper, goes long and out to the right towards Ben Johnson, who goes up aerially there with Robinson, and it kind of bounces off one of the two, then straight to the goalkeeper of Leno. And it's Fulham back on the ball, just inside their 18-yard box here with Joachim Anderson. Spent 3 years at Crystal Palace, his previous club, racked up over 100 appearances, coming up towards 150 in the Premier League. This is appearance number 147 for the Danish centre-back. As we're 18.5 minutes in, still 0-0. Not many huge chances, really. Neither of the two goalkeepers have really been worked so far, but that could change in a split second, especially in the Premier League with the quality on show as Harry Wilson has it. And then loses out. Is there a trip? Yes, there is a trip. And it's a free kick, another free kick given. Jens Kayuste, the Ipswich central midfielder, has got his hands on his head. He can't quite believe that's gone against him. It was actually Kearney who received the ball, and he'd just got in front of Kayuste, and there was no contact. How on earth is that a free kick? He's not touched him. I don't think. No, Kearney's tripped himself up. Wow. No wonder Jens Kayuste cannot believe that's been given as a foul. He didn't touch him. He just fell over there, Tom Kearney. And the funny part about it is Tom Kearney's asked for the foul when he knows that no one's touched him. Wow. Fair enough. Calm Coyle. Come on, Ipswich boys. Delap. Yeah, we need well, I say we need. I haven't got him in my fantasy team, the lap, but I'm sure many people have and need him to score as the cross goes into the box, headed away by Johnson to the edge of the area to Kearney, who heads it back into the box here. Another header away by Dar O'Shea out to the Fulham left here, where Bassey has a little bit of time. Gives it to Kearney on the angle. And then onto his left foot, he delivers a ball into the box towards Raul Jimenez. It's a great save from Walton. Parries it away and then cleared by O'Shea. Now that is the biggest chance of the game so far, 20 minutes in. The ball will be put back in by Kearney, and this time it's a header away by Wolfenden. And Ipswich survive. It's a brilliant save down low to his right there by Christian Walton, who kept a clean sheet in the last game against Chelsea. It was his first appearance in the Premier League since the opening game for them at home to Liverpool. And Jimenez got up well there, looking to equal his tally for last season in the league. But he got a right palm to the ball and pushed it away and keeps the game at 0-0. As on this near side, it's Castagna. It's a Diop, the centre-back, overlapping. Lukic in between the lines for Wilson. Now to the edge of the box to Jimenez. Takes the touch, right foot shot, deflects back towards Wilson, who swings at it. Misses it, but keeps it. Takes on two Ipswich players. Tries to take on a third, but runs into traffic. Still alive for Fulham, with Schmodix failing to clear. Robinson shifts it to his left to Iwobi. Back through for Robinson in the box. Still got Iwobi with him. Finds him here. Wilson still down on the edge of the box as Iwobi takes on a couple of Ipswich players and then shoots towards the far post. Blocked by Cayuste and cannons over the top of the crossbar for a corner. Slightly chaotic the last couple of minutes here at Craven Cottage. Started with the Kearney cross, and Jimenez won the header against Greaves. And even though it was rather close to him there, Christian Walton, he still had to get down and make sure the ball stayed out of the goal. And then on the edge of the box as well, Wilson ran into a bit of traffic. Questions a handball there off Wolfenden. I think it would have been slightly harsh, that, but Fulham do have a corner as a result. It's going to be an in-swinger with the right boot of Lukic, and it goes towards Jimenez again. Header won by Greaves, and it's now with Kearney. Furthest back here, Fulham's Robinson. Sent it to the right again to Kearney. Can he get a cross in? He's primarily left-footed, and he shifts it onto his left and then switches out to the far side here to Wilson. On once more now to Lukic. Inside to Kearney. Plays it back to Wilson. Out wide to Anderson. On once more to Iwobi. Everything to his right. Crosses right-footed. It had away by Greaves for Ipswich. Only as far as Wilson, who just nods it to his right here to Robinson. And then back to the halfway line here to Bassey. And Fulham still have possession. 22.5 minutes in. Anderson works it to the left wing here of Iwobi. Inside it goes to Kearney. Lays it off to Lukic. Then back out wide it goes to Robinson. Right-footed cross goes in towards Raul Jimenez. It's a header won on the 6-yard line by Greaves. Cleared by Ipswich. Fulham really starting to put the pressure on this Ipswich Town defence. And Fulham have it just inside their own half on the far side with Calvin Bassey. Missed the 2-2 draw against Liverpool in the middle of December, Calvin Bassey, due to a yellow card suspension. But other than that, he started every Premier League game for Fulham as he can't quite keep that ball switched out to him. I think that was by Diop. And Hardy goes for a throw-in for Ipswich on the halfway line on the far side. Very difficult ball there for Calvin Bassey to control. As for Fulham, they are unbeaten in their last 7 Premier League games. The last time they enjoyed an unbeaten run longer than that was a run of 9 from November to December 2008, which ended in a defeat in the opening game of 2009. It was a 3-1 defeat to West Ham. So they haven't quite enjoyed a run like this in the top flight for quite some time, Fulham. Ipswich win it on the halfway line with O'Shea, but overruns it, and it's lost out there in the end to Kearney. It's now Castagna on the near side. Midway side the Ipswich half. Goes to his left here to Kearney, who takes over, and he drives the ball forward. It's now with Wilson in the right wing position. It's Kearney. Castagna, bit of a triangle between the three. Kearney has it again. Finds Lukic. Now Anderson just in front of the centre circle, working it to the left now to Bassey, who can keep it away from Schmodix. Iwobi into Lukic, who gets plenty of time on the ball within matches. the central midfielder, as he just curls it out to the right side again here to Kearney. Lukic trying to make things happen. Works it to the right-hand side to Castagni. Back inside to Lukic, about 25 yards from goal. Iwobi's drifted into a central area and links up with Kearney, who now finds Castagni. Tries to play the ball back to Wilson. The last touch comes off Timothy Castagni. And that will be a goal kick for Ipswich. About to hit the 25th minute mark here at Craven Cottage. It's still Fulham 0, Ipswich 0. Looking for a handball there, Wolfenden. I mean, he does hit his left hand, but I don't think he's exactly trying to stop the ball going through. He's trying to just stop Harry Wilson, and there's also a question mark of a foul possibly on Castagni in the box from Morsey. Again, doesn't seem like enough in it for me personally. Smodics heads on for Ipswich towards the halfway line. Can't quite find Delap. Fulham now have it in the centre of the park here. Kearney going back to the halfway line here to Diop. Plenty of time on the ball here for the Frenchman. Born in Toulouse, Issa Diop, and he came through the club's academy, left in 2018. And he left for West Ham for £22 million. It's been all Fulham the last 5 or 10 minutes. And they're looking more likely to score, even though they've had to go back to the goalkeeper. Just outside his 18-yard box here, Bernd Leno. 32 years of age now, the German goalkeeper. Bit of a bargain, really, brought in from Arsenal for £8 million. Great link-up between Jimenez and Wilson. And Wilson trying to get away from Davis, who brings him down. And that'll surely be a yellow card. Harry Wilson, I think, trying to plead the case. It might be a red card, but I don't think Darren Bond's getting anything out other than a yellow. I'm sure there was covering defenders there for Leif Davis in Ipswich Town. As I'm not going to quite repeat what Harry Wilson just called the referee, but he's not happy with the decision. Just seemed like all of a sudden Fulham picked up the pace, and it was Raul Jimenez linking up with Harry Wilson. Wilson drifted into the halfway line, got the ball, touched it into Jimenez, who then, again, had a nice little cushion touch there for Wilson, and he's tried to drive forward down the centre of the pitch. Davis comes across to stop him, and he stops him, certainly, tripping him up, about 25 yards away from goal. But it did look like there was covering defenders there for Ipswich. I think if it was obviously last man, then the red card's there to be seen. Marco Silva arguing the case that Harry Wilson was through on goal there. I mean, I'd have to see it again. But it did look like there was going to be covering defenders as Leif Davis hits 5 yellow cards for the season. He's played every minute so far. For Ipswich to their return to the Premier League. So about 30 or so yards out. Now the free kick being taken. It's a 3-man wall. It's going to be just lifted in by Lukic to the far post. Free header for Anderson straight into the gloves of Walton, who can just relax it here for Ipswich. They're under the cosh at the moment, and they have been for the last 10 minutes or so. So long ball by the goalkeeper, kick straight out of play. Fulham thrown midway inside their own half, far side. And it'll be Anthony Robinson to take it. And the thing is with Fulham, when they have lost a game, they've conceded quite a few. They've conceded 3 or more in 3 of their 4 Premier League defeats. So if they are able to, of course, shut up shop at the back, they do find a lot of ways to not lose. They're not losing games, 1-0 or 2-1. If they're losing, it is when they're probably just having a little bit of an off day at the back, which, of course, isn't too often. Just 4 Premier League defeats so far in the season. That's really impressive. They lost 17 games in the whole last season, Fulham. And, out of those 17, 8 of them were at home. It's Jimenez, almost in a right wing-back position here, battling with Broadhead and keeps it for Fulham. It's now Diop to Leno towards the penalty spot for Fulham. Just under half an hour in. Still 0-0. Fulham certainly look more likely to score, but Ipswich have definitely got Liam Delap on it today. Whenever he's been given the ball, he looks like at the moment he's slightly got the better of Joachim Andersen when they've had individual duels and battles. As the long ball by Leno, header won by Wolfenden. Kayuste gets it from Morsey, goes to Davis, then into the middle here to Morsey again. Quick one to a Broadhead. Morsey wanting to go back towards Wolfenden, who can head it away towards Greaves. Tackle in there by Jimenez. And the decision is a throw-in for Ipswich. Last touch off the Mexican. There is Kieran McKenna. Just see there, barking out some instructions. And for Kieran McKenna, took charge of his 150th Ipswich game when they were beaten 1-0 at the Emirates against Arsenal. 151 games in charge now since December 2021. 79 wins, 41 draws, 31 losses. It's a brilliant record with the back-to-back promotions. It's Fulham and now the team to bring it forward. Lukic into Kearney, 30 yards from goal. He's going to see a late run there. He's going to try and cross it in towards Robinson. Cleared by Johnson, straight off the chest of Iwobi. Then eventually cleared again by Schmodix. And then Diop with the header forward and halfway straight to Wolfenden, whose touch isn't great. He can just about keep it away from Jimenez. It's now with Jacob Greaves at left centre-back, finding Davis. It's now with the goalkeeper, Christian Walton. Takes a touch left-footed, then clears it forward towards the halfway line, controlled by Delap. Well held up by the former City striker. And it's now with Morsey in the centre circle. Straight forward to Broadhead, who's then cut down from behind by Sasha Lukic, who's been well involved in the midfield battles this afternoon, and he's avoided the booking there. The Fulham number 20. As of course there is still another game on later on today. Won't be commentating on it, but I'll be definitely watching. And that is Manchester United travelling to Liverpool. There was concerns the game wouldn't go ahead due to the snow, but it has got the go ahead. To the delight of the Liverpool supporters, as Morsey from that free kick goes to the far post there, and Davis gets the cross, which deflects off a Fulham man, and on the near side, Ipswich will have themselves a corner. It was just a ball into a corridor there by Morsey on the Ipswich left, and Davis just about got there, and the kick came off Castagnet, and it'll be an Ipswich set piece. And if they're wanting to take 3 points from this game, they'll definitely have to try their utmost to score from the corners they get. The majority of the players for Ipswich are situated at the far post at the moment as the ball goes into the near post. Headed away by Lukic, a really poor delivery there by Sammy Schmodix. And it's going to be a throw-in on the left-hand side for Ipswich. Bit of a waste there by the Ipswich number 23, Schmodix, who scored 43 in 91 appearances for Blackburn Rovers in his 2-year stay at the club. Like I say, he already got 3 goals so far for Ipswich in the Premier League, all the way from home, as Kayuste long throwing in, flicked on as well by Daroshe, headed away by Fulham, headed out wide left by Davis to Kayuste, who put the original long throwing in, left-footed cross goes in, cleared away by Fulham, and it sets away Harry Wilson on the halfway line, try to play a ball through to the left-hand side to Jimenez, but it's really well cut out there by Daroshe. Midway side his own half, it was pivotal, he got there, and he did as Davis clips it forward, can't find Delap on halfway. Diop gets there first, and it's Fulham this time to try their luck at trying to break through this Ipswich Town defence. Iwobi. It's now Kearney to Lukic, midway inside the Ipswich half here, goes out to the right-hand side to Castagnet. Not much on for him, so has to go back here to Diop, who spent 4 years at West Ham before coming over to West London to join Fulham. Here is Diop, right-footed ball forward. Wilson lays it off to Anderson, who lifts it in behind here for the run of Lukic, who can't quite beat Daroshe to it, about 20 yards from goal. Cleared away, throwing for Fulham on this near side. 10 minutes to go until we've hit minute 45. It's still 0-0. Fulham on top, but Ipswich also looking like they could potentially score on the break and from set pieces. Lukic tries to play out to the left side, just about reaches Robinson ahead of Johnson. And here is Robinson finding Iwobi. And then plays it back through for Robinson in the box. It's a brilliant 1-2. Robinson pulls it back towards Jimenez, but it's well dealt with by Johnson, who can clear. And as he clears, he is fouled by Harry Wilson. And it's a free kick for Ipswich Town, but it can be as simple as a 1-2 to break through this Ipswich Town defence. It was really well built up on that left-hand side, but the cutback couldn't quite find Raul Jimenez. There's Robinson wanting another assist this season. He's got 7 in this campaign, Anthony Robinson. 4 of the 7 assists have come in the last 6 games. He picked up 2 in the 2-2 draw away at Anfield as well in the middle of December. And he's also another player that's played every minute so far in the league this season for Fulham. As Wolfenden clears it forward for Ipswich up towards Delap, who lets it run through, and it can reach Broadhead as Anderson can't get there as he slides in, and he gets away from Diop. Anderson trying to recover, pulling the arm of Broadhead, who can see him off for now, and then plays out to the left to Davis in the box. The angle's tight. He pulls it back towards Delap, but it's nowhere near him in the end. Well dealt with there by Lukic, who's tackled by Delap, throwing for Fulham in the right wing back position towards the corner flag. And again, when Ipswich can get forward, they do look like they can pull this Fulham defence around. Diop was the one lunging in, and Anderson eventually slowed down Broadhead by pulling his arm slightly, and the switch out to the left, and then Davis couldn't quite find the lap. And we know Leif Davis can assist. He got 18 assists last season in the Championship, and he got over 20 in the season before in League One. But unfortunately that time he couldn't quite provide the setup for Delap, as Wolfenden has it for Ipswich in their own half here. Morsey. Ball out to the left of Davis. Brilliant chested touch, and he keeps it away from Castagne in the final third. No one in the box, though, yet for Ipswich. A couple will now arrive, but it's been slowed down by Broadhead. That's the central midfielder of Cayuste. On halfway now, Wolfenden. Goes through his right 5 yards to O'Shea, then into the middle to Morsey. Shielding the ball away from Kearney. It's now into Broadhead on the left wing position, slipping it through for Delap, who will get there ahead of Anderson. Forced away from goal. Good defending by the Dane. But he can find Davis, who goes inside to Broadhead, just on the edge of the box. He curls it into the far post where Ben Johnson gets the header, and it's off the bar. Poor clearance from Bassey. Schmodics with the shot, and Ipswich take the lead. Really poor defensive work there by Calvin Bassey. And he sets up the chance for Sammy Schmodics, who scores another Premier League goal. It's his 4th of the season, and they've all come away from home. And despite Fulham dominating the possession, Ipswich have always looked a threat when they have had time on the ball. And it was on the left-hand side where Broadhead was just given too much time on the edge of the area to work across into the far post. And it was Johnson who went for the header. I'm not sure if it came off him or Robinson, but whoever it came off, it touched it onto the crossbar. And as it came off the crossbar, it fell to Calvin Bassey, who had more time than he thought to clear it, but he completely scuffed these lines. And as Schmodics had the shot, it actually ended up deflecting off Bassey into the back of the net. It is a real mess up at the back by Calvin Bassey. And he'll want to forget that as quickly as possible, because as we edge towards half-time, it's Fulham 0, Ipswich 1. Sammy Schmodics with the goal. And again, Fulham find themselves struggling against teams towards the lower half of the table. And like the reverse fixture at Portman Road, Ipswich did take the lead in that one as well. They ended 1-1 eventually. They've had a yellow card here. There's a Fulham man down. Yellow card given to Jacob Greaves, making his 3rd start in a row. For Ipswich, was out with a muscle injury from October to December. Oh, it was Broadhead with the yellow card, sorry. A sliding challenge there. Seen as a late one, Marco Silva not happy. But the Welshman is in the book. Tom Kearney was the one brought down by the sliding challenge. Can Fulham respond as quickly as possible? after a really poor goal to concede. Lukic with the right foot from the right-hand side towards the far post. It's a header won by Ben Johnson, ahead of Diop, and Kayuste will get there ahead of Robinson. Big touch away from him, and can Kayuste beat him in a foot race? Robinson's quick, and he's too quick for him. Well dealt with by Anthony Robinson, and that is a Fulham ball, restarting with their goalkeeper. 5 minutes to play in the first half. It's still Fulham 0, Ipswich 1. Leading again, and this takes them out of the relegation zone for now. 2 points clear of Wolves, who play at home tomorrow to Nottingham Forest. Like I say, it's pretty much all been Fulham in terms of the possession. But when Ipswich have had the slight bit of the ball, they have looked like they can construct something. They've not exactly been getting shots off or anything like that, but they have been able to just get towards the Fulham goal and look like they could cause some issues. Like I say, Joachim Andersen's not had a great time against Delap, and Diop's looked shaky at times as well. And of course, we saw Bassi there completely making a hash of clearing that ball off the crossbar before the goal went in. Still with Fulham, with Andersen just in front of the centre circle. It's Kearney in the centre of the park. Out to the left it goes to Robinson, who can keep it in, as the ball was just played slightly behind him. Bassi, quick 1-2 with Iwobi. It's now with the former Everton man again, Iwobi. Bit of space here for Robinson. Won't use him, eventually does. Here is Robinson in the final third. Goes to the edge of the box to Kearney. Lukic back to Kearney again. Out wide to Alex Iwobi. On his right foot. In the corner of the box. Twisting and turning. And playing a low ball to Wilson, who finds a bit of space to shoot. Blocked by Wolfenden. And it goes through to Andersen. As Fulham will want the equaliser before the break. Robinson on the far side is going to go for a ball into the box here towards Castagnet. Heads it into the penalty, towards the penalty spot, cleared by Wolfenden. Header won by Andersen ahead of Delap. Another header away, but drops to Jimenez. 20 yards out, he shoots. It's blocked off Kayuste. Goes through to the right centre-back of Diop, and Fulham will continue to put the pressure on here. With Lukic to Castagnet, midway side the Ipswich half on the near side, going back 10 yards to Diop. Now on the halfway line to Andersen. Quickly shifting it to his left to Bassi. Smodics is getting close, but not close enough and quick enough. It's now with Robinson, forward to Kearney, out wide to Iwobi. Robinson's bombing in behind. Iwobi decides to run with it himself. And then switching it to the right to Diop. It's better here from Fulham. Diop thinking about a cross. Goes to his left 5 yards instead to Wilson. It's now Kearney laying it off to Lukic, 25 yards from goal. Everyone behind the ball for Ipswich bar Liam Delap at the moment. Wilson crossing into the far post towards Robinson. It's a glance away from Ben Johnson. And it's a corner kick on the far side for Fulham. Well defended there by Ben Johnson, who caused that ball to go off the crossbar just before the Ipswich Town goal. So Fulham corner. And for Ipswich, they are better on the road. Like I say, they'd gone 9 games at home without a win before the game against Chelsea. So they do usually prefer playing away from Portman Road. The ball goes in from the corner, headed away by Dara O'Shea towards the far post. He'll chase after it, but he can't quite get there ahead of Kearney. Castagnet into Iwobi on that right-hand side. Finds Kearney, then back through for Iwobi. Castagnet lets it run to the Nigerian, who can get the cross into the box. It's a header away by Kayuste. Drops on the volley to Wilson. It deflects off an Ipswich Town player. And on this near side this time, it will be another corner for Fulham, who are really trying to bag this equaliser before half-time. I think came off Bassi, then Greaves. It looked like from the left-footed volley from Wilson. Let's have a look. Going wide. Oh no, straight off the head of Greaves. So rightly given corner, which they're taking short. It's now Kearney on the edge of the area. Time with the left foot to have a shot, and it's brilliantly blocked by, looked like Sammy Smodics there. And it goes all the way out to the Fulham left here to Robinson. Less than a minute until we hit minute 45. Robinson puts the ball into the box, and no one's there to challenge for it. Easy catch for Christian Walton, the 6'5" Ipswich Town goalkeeper. And it will be Ipswich to relax it, trying to get in at half-time leading if they can. It'll be 2 wins in a row for Ipswich. It'll be the first time they've won back-to-back top-flight games since January and February 2002. And the wins in that back-to-back run came against Fulham at home and Everton away. As Iwobi on halfway tries to play it through to Jimenez, cut out by Greaves. It's now Delap. Loses out this time to Anderson. And now Fulham have it back. I'm assuming there'll be at least a minute or two added on. We'll find out now. As Robinson plays down the left, Iwobi can't beat O'Shea to it. Just the 1 minute added on. Smodics finding Morsey in the Ipswich Town half. Going out to the left now to Davis. Wants to go forward if possible. He's going to knock it around Castagna and he's got the pace to beat him. Brilliant run from Davis, who crosses it into the far post. Looking for Delap, who can't quite get there. And Robinson can kick it away only as far as Johnson, who keeps it on the far side. Could Ipswich double their lead before the break? Back it goes here into O'Shea. Down the line for Smodics. Into the middle towards Morsey. Slouched in front of the halfway line with Wolfenden. Bring it forward, plays it back out wide here to Johnson. Then on once more to Smodics, who won't beat Bassey to the ball. Takes a touch out wide. Now Bassey playing it into his right here to Lukic. Well played there by the Nigerian centre-back. And it will be Fulham on the ball. And that will be that for the first half here at Craven Cottage. And in the half where it has been dominated by Fulham, their main issue has been shots on target. They've had 8 so far. Just the 1 on target with 74% of the possession. They'll be frustrated. They are going in behind. But it just shows if you're not clinical in the Premier League, the other team might be. And Ipswich have been. 38 minutes in, Sammy Smodics got the goal. He scored 4 goals in the league so far this season. All 4 of them have come away from home. And once again, he finds the back of the net like he did so many times last season for Blackburn Rovers. It was a cross into the box by Broadhead to the far post. Robinson and Johnson went for the ball. It ended up coming off one of the two and onto the crossbar. And then Bassey in the 6-yard box had more time than he thought to clear it. Hurried the clearance straight to Smodics, who had the shot, which ended up deflecting off Bassey, the one who gave it away, and into the back of the net. And it ends in a frustrating manner for Fulham as they trail here at home. Is at half-time here in both of these two sides. First game of the new year. It's Fulham 0, Ipswich Town 1. Like I say, it's another game where Fulham might end up frustrated with dropping points to teams below them. It's not the first time. We were listed before. They've dropped points to Ipswich away, West Ham at home, Everton away, Wolves at home, Southampton at home. They're bad games to drop points. They're really bad games to not, get all 3 points, really, especially when you think about the Southampton game at home, 0-0. Not really good enough. Wolves at home, that was a 4-1 battering in the end as well. And Ipswich get themselves out of the relegation zone. This actually puts Ipswich into 16th. It leapfrogs them above Everton, who now go to 17th on 17 points. Ipswich would go on to 18 points. Everton do have a game in hand, but you might remember that game in hand is against Liverpool. So I can't quite see Everton getting anything out of that game. So at the moment, it does put Ipswich 2 points away from the drop, and it puts them into 16th position. Like I say, they first dropped into the bottom 3 at the end of November. And like I say, all 3 of their Premier League wins this season so far have come in the last 9 games since the 10th of November. Like I say, they failed to win any of their first 10 league games. Ipswich drawing 5, losing 5, scoring 10, conceding 21. And if it does get to the last day, Ipswich Town don't have the hardest fixture on the final day. They have West Ham at home, who aren't quite having a great season under Julian Lopetegui. So they'll definitely aim for survival this season, Ipswich Town, and I don't think there's any reason why they can't get it. Of course, Wolves are on a bit of a new manager bounce at the moment, but Everton are really struggling under Sean Dyche, and if they end up sacking Sean Dyche, there is no guarantee that whoever they bring in will be able to lift them out of this rut that they're currently in. So definitely think Ipswich should have more than just good faith that they could survive this season. They've got a pretty decent squad that they've assembled for the Premier League. Of course, they've got to understand that, the players that brought them to the Premier League, a lot of them played in League One, and you've got to kind of find the balance of giving them the opportunity to play in the Premier League because they've got them here, but then also understand as well that some of those players who played for them in League One, who's got them promoted to the Premier League, probably won't be good enough. But a lot of them who played in League One are still here. The likes of Christian Walton, Luke Wolfenden, Leif Davis, Nathan Broadhead came in midway through that League One season when they won promotion as well. So, there's a lot of players from that League One promotion team that are still here at Ipswich. They ended up bringing 12 new signings in, average age of 25. A lot of them play today, the likes of Ben Johnson, Dar O'Shea, Jacob Greaves, Jens Kayuste, Sammy Schmodix and Liam Delap. And they've also got quite a few on the bench. Connor Townsend, Calvin Phillips and Jack Clark as well. And they had to let go of a few, but kind of kept the main core of their success, Ipswich Town. The only player that left who was really involved last season was Haladki, the goalkeeper, who went and moved to Burnley, but they replaced him with Ariane Muric. And it hasn't quite worked for the former Burnley goalkeeper, who played 10 Premier League games last season for Burnley, as he replaced James Trafford for the last 10 games, and he kept 0 clean sheets and conceded 16. So I'm not quite sure what made Ipswich think paying £10 million for him would be a good idea. But he's ended up being replaced again, and they've gone back to Christian Walton, who only played one championship game last season, and that was a last-minute substitute appearance in the last game against Huddersfield, and that was due to the fact that he started the season with a foot injury, Christian Walton, and that meant they started with Haladki. And then because Haladki had done so well whilst Walton was injured, they kind of just kept Haladki in, which seemed a bit unfair on Christian Walton because he'd played all 46 games in League One to get them promoted to the Championship. But, that's the life of a goalkeeper. You can be quite easily replaced if your backup has a really good run of games. So here at half-time, it is Fulham 0, Ipswich 1. I really want to see who that came off when it hit the crossbar. Like I say, hit the crossbar, poor clearance from Bassey, and then Schmodix put it into the back of the net. It ended up hitting the middle of the net due to the deflection. Leno was diving to his right towards the bottom left corner. And for me, it looked like it might have hit the shoulder of Robinson and not Johnson. I'm not too sure. Maybe the head of... For me, whatever it's hit, it looks like it's hit Robinson. Here we go. Here's the angle. Oh, who does that come off? There's no angle to tell. Because one angle looks like the back of the head. Then one angle it looks like the shoulder. It doesn't really matter. What happens is the ball ended up in the back of the net. So I don't think it matters who it came off as it hit the crossbar. But it's just really poor defending from Fulham, who, have dominated so much of the game and then kind of give such a sloppy goal away. But it's definitely... it's plaudits to Ipswich, because when they've had kind of clearer openings, they have looked more likely to score themselves as well. We'll just have to see how Fulham react in the second half, because for their home form, they've won 4 of their first 10 home games this season against Brighton, Brentford, Newcastle and Leicester. They have drawn the last 3 home games in a row. It's Bournemouth, Southampton and Arsenal. See if any changes possibly made during the second half for Fulham. They've got quite good squad depth at the moment in the attacking sense. They've got Rodrigo Muniz, the Brazilian striker, who's on 3 for the season so far, scored 2 in his last 4. Against Chelsea and Liverpool, they've got Adama Traore, whose only league goal this season came against Ipswich away from home in game week 3. Also got Emile Smith-Rowe, who they brought in for £34 million from Arsenal in the summer. And they've also got Andres Pereira as well, who's looking to make his 100th Fulham appearance. Is joining in July 2022 from Manchester United. And the reason I said Manchester City is because he has scored against them this season. He scored twice, Andres Pereira, this season. One away at Manchester City, then another one away at Liverpool. And also assisted in the last game against Bournemouth in that 2-2 draw. And then for Ipswich, they've also got options on the bench. Ali Al-Hamadi, the man they brought in for £1 million this time last year from Wimbledon. Not started any Premier League games yet. He has scored once this season, Al Hamadi, and it was against his former club, Wimbledon, in the League Cup. They ended up losing that one on penalties, but he did score within the 90 minutes. Also got Jack Clarke, who they brought in for £15 million initial fee from Sunderland. He got Player of the Month in the Championship in the September of 2023. Got 15 league goals last season. Jack Clarke, who spent 11 years coming through at Leeds and then 3 years at Tottenham, where he spent a couple of loan spells and ended up moving permanently to Sunderland in 2022. They've got Wes Burns as well, who's not scored yet in the Premier League. The Welsh winger, who was used as a wing-back in the last game against Chelsea. He's been swapped out for today's game for Ben Johnson. Of course, the loan signing as well of Calvin Phillips on the bench, sent off this season already. And it was against Leicester at home in the middle of November. Then he didn't play any of the next 6 games. He started one of the last 3, Calvin Phillips, and that was away at Arsenal in that very close 1-0 defeat. But the second half will be getting underway here in a couple of minutes' time. I really do think we will get some more goals in this game. But who they will be scored by, we'll have to wait and see. Because, of course, as well, in around 20 minutes' time, we will be finding out the lineups for the Liverpool-Manchester United game later on. But for Fulham in this game, they have not been beaten by Ipswich in the last 8 meetings between the two. 6 wins and 2 draws. And Ipswich have got 9 wins in their history against Fulham in the previous 32 meetings. They did win 4 in a row in 2002, 2014, then twice in 2015. Their last 2 wins away were both in that 2015, in the February and the December. So they have won here. I couldn't say in recent times, but 10 years ago now, isn't it? 2015, which is slightly scary to think about. But yeah, it's a fixture that's got 70-year history. The first meeting between these two, just over 70 years ago, it was a 4-2 away win for Fulham. And in the first 8 games between the two, Ipswich picked up no wins. It was all in Fulham's favour from 1954 to 1961. But it's at this current moment in time, it is Ipswich who have the lead, and they'll be looking to keep it if possible and keep their second away clean sheet of the season. Not kept one since the middle of September. But I doubt there'll be any half-time changes from any of the two managers. Personally, I don't think it's panic stations yet for Marco Silva in terms of making changes, unless there's maybe a knock or a slight injury concern. And also the League Cup semi-finals start on Tuesday and Wednesday. Could Liverpool win it once again? Because it looks like they could be winning a lot this season under Arne Slot. As it looks like we're going to get back underway very shortly. Because for Marco Silva, he's coming up towards a century of games in charge of Fulham in the Premier League. He's got 191 now altogether. Of course, managing 4 different Premier League teams took charge of Hull for 6 months. Couldn't quite keep them up in the division, but then took over at Watford for another 6-month stint, and then was at Everton for 18 months, and then rejoined the English game back in July 2021. And it does look like Fulham are going to make that half-time change. Emile Smith-Rowe is the one warming up at the moment. I'd like to know who's coming off. Not quite sure if there's a injury concern or just maybe Marco Silva sees something that Smith-Rowe can bring to this game that could possibly get them the win. Because like I say, certainly in a game like this, Fulham won't be looking for that draw. They'll be looking for the equaliser and then to go on and get the win if they can. They will not settle for just a point today at Craven Cottage. So the second half will be getting underway in a minute or two's time. Just waiting for the players to come back on. Marco Silva still talking to the referee, Darren Bond here. I think it's about the Harry Wilson chance. Leif Davis took him out. And Marco Silva is adamant that instead of a yellow card, it should have been red. But it's gone now. I mean, it's easy for me to say sat here, not the Fulham manager and not having any link to Fulham at all, but it's gone now. It's happened. He wasn't sent off. You're now losing the game. You almost just think just focus on the game now. Have a go at the ref afterwards. As we're going to have a change, and it is going to be a system change as well. They're going to ditch this 3 at the back, Fulham, and they're going to take off Issa Diop on his 70th appearance for Fulham, and he will be replaced by Emile Smith-Rowe. So I'm assuming, literally, if you can see on screen the Fulham lineup to your left, take Diop away, the right centre-back, place him in the middle of Jimenez, Iwobi and Wilson is that front 4, and then bring the 4 at the back together, and that's how you got it. It will be a 4-2-3-1 here for Fulham in the second half. Right back Castagna, left back Robinson, 2 centre-backs of Anderson and Bassi, 2 older midfielders of Kearney and Lukic, 3 across in behind the striker, Iwobi on the left wing, Smith-Rowe is the number 10, and then Wilson on the right, and Jimenez up front as we are underway. It'll be Ipswich kicking left to right, Fulham right to left here in the second half. It's Ipswich who have kicked us off, and they've got the ball here, Broadhead. Nice bit of passing here to Cayuste, who's got himself in the box here on the left-hand side, tries to poke it across, cleared by Leno on the 6-yard line, headed back forward by Wolfenden for Ipswich, headed to the right there by Lukic, headed back by Smith-Rowe to Castagna, who finds Leno, the goalkeeper, returns it to the right back. And it is Fulham now on the ball. And for Ipswich, there was no changes. They're the same as they was. But like I say, for Fulham, they've took off Diop and they've brought on Smith-Rowe. He's got 3 goals so far this season against Leicester and Newcastle at home. And scored also away against Palace. That was his last goal for Fulham. And that was back towards the start of November for Emile Smith-Rowe, who's making his 98th Premier League appearance of his career. Played 72 minutes in the reverse fixture at Portman Road against Ipswich. As Greaves, high ball down the left here for Ipswich. Can't be controlled by Davis. Can it be seen behind for a throw-in by Wilson? It can. As the rain starts to pour in West London. Hood up there for Kieran McKenna. In the right back position, it's a throw-in for the Cottagers. Castagna wants to take it as quickly as possible. Still has the two balls. Still has the 1 ball in his 2 hands, and he eventually finds Lukic. Turns, finds Bassi back into the 6-yard box here to Leno. Loads of time on the ball here for the goalkeeper, not being pressed at the moment. Finds the pass to the right here to Castagna. Quick 1-2 with Smith-Rowe, then try to re-find the Englishman, but it's a bit of a heavy hit pass, and it's straight to Morsey towards the halfway line, who's being closed down by Smith-Rowe, keeps it away from him, works it to O'Shea. That's another short pass, but Johnson gets there and flicks it inside to Smodix, returns it to Johnson, then to the left here to Broadhead. Good football here from Ipswich as they open up the Fulham defence. Furthest left is Davis, and he's been found. He cuts inside and he plays a pass to his right here to Cayuste. Now a Morsey in the middle of the park. Goes out to his left again to Greaves. It's been a positive start this from Ipswich. They're on top and Greaves finds Davis. Low ball in the box. Smodics with the shot and he almost got it on target, but Bassey was there to avoid it and it's cleared in the end by Robinson. Almost a second there for Smodics and Ipswich. But it's a really good start from the Tractor boys. In this second 45 minutes, just over 2.5 played. It's still Fulham 0, Ipswich Town 1. Walton, the goalkeeper. Long ball out to the right-hand side, headed forward by Robinson. And it'll roll out here for an Ipswich Town throw-in with their right centre-back of Dara O'Shea, making his 175th English League appearance today. Dara O'Shea. Like I say, good ball into the channel there by Greaves on the left-hand side, and it was an even better ball there by Davis, low to Smodics, and about 14 yards out. He was getting a left-footed shot off, but Bassey just got his foot in the way to take the pace off it and send it away from goal, and eventually it was Robinson who was able to clear. Throwing by Ipswich into the Fulham half here. Header won by Robinson, controlled there by Kearney, brought down from behind by Morsey. Foul given in the favour of Fulham. So now Robinson on this near side keeps it away from Johnson, well, nearly did, caught accidentally there by the wing back, apologetic Ben Johnson, who was on the bench for West Ham on the day they won the Conference League final a couple of seasons ago. Joachim Anderson, it's a big switch out to the right-hand side towards Wilson, headed away from him by Davis. That'll be a throw-in just inside the Ipswich half there for Fulham on the far side. Lukic into Kearney, allowed to turn forward and goes to his left on the halfway line to Bassey. Loads of time on the ball here. Furthest left is Robinson's got everything to his right at the moment and finds a ball into a central area to Kearney. Back out wide left to Iwobi. Slips it for Robinson. It slightly deflects and it's away from him. And it'll be Ben Johnson to keep it in and kick it out of play for a throw-in for Fulham. As the tables have just slightly started to turn in this game. It's now Fulham who are back on top. Just less than 5 minutes into the second half. Still 1-0 to Ipswich. It's Kearney on the left-hand side. It's Bassey. Forward again to Robinson. In the final third, he tries to lift it into the box. It deflects through towards Lukic. Dealt with, though, in the end by Morsey. And the clearance goes through into the Fulham half and out for a throw-in for the home side, where Bassey takes it to Anderson. And we're back underway once again. That's the number 10, Tom Kearney. His last 7 league goals had been at home. Tom Kearney, before that goal he scored away at Spurs earlier on in the season. His last away goal in the league before that was against Bristol City back in March 2020. And he does have 46 Fulham goals, Tom Kearney, and he's just under 10 years at the club. Joined in July 2015 from Blackburn Rovers. Now the captain. And has been for a little bit of time. Bassey, everyone behind the ball for Ipswich. Iwobi 25 yards out. Lifts it outside the box there to Kearney. He's now in the box and can't quite get onto his right foot. Really poor control. He's frustrated with himself. But it's won back quickly by Robinson on Smodics. And Fulham can come again and try and attack the Ipswich goal. 6 minutes played in the second half. It's still 1-0. Robinson on the left-hand side. Goes across to his right here to Lukic. Wants to play it forward. Looks for Iwobi. Well cut out there by Kayuste. Cleared but can't find a lap. One back on halfway for Fulham by Anderson. And it's now Kearney. Smith Rowe, the substitute at half-time. Works it to the left here to Bassey. Heavy touch forward. Lays it off here to Robinson. Another ball inside here to Kearney. Then back out wide to Smith Rowe, the number 32. Kearney again. Lukic out wide to Iwobi. It's patient here from Fulham as he's tried to slip a ball through to Robinson. Can't quite get around O'Shea, who has to slide in and concede the corner on the near side. Didn't seem like Robinson read the Iwobi pass, but despite reading it late, he still almost got there ahead of O'Shea. Does have a lot of pace, Anthony Robinson, the American. Wilson, near post. Smith Rowe with the delivery. And it's caught by the goalkeeper. Like I said, that original corner there was headed away. And Ipswich now have the chance to attack. Davis just about kept it in there, and eventually it's kicked off in for a goal kick there by Sasha Lukic. It's about to hit the 8th minute of the second half. It's still Fulham 0, Ipswich 1. Anderson. Out to the right. Castagna. Lukic into Kearney. Midway side, his own half, goes to the left. It's a Bassett. Now with Anderson. Big ball in behind here for Robinson from the left back position. As Walton kept in his own box, he just about has there. Like I say, he was played in behind there for the run of Robinson, and it almost meant that Walton caught the ball outside of his 18-yard box there. Robinson had no complaints, so he obviously kept the ball in the 18-yard box. His foot went outside the box, but the ball was well within the 18-yard box. Like I say, Robinson, no complaints from the Fulham player, which surely means that the ball was still in the 18-yard box as Johnson left-footed switch. What a ball that is to Davis on the halfway line, who will now bring it forward for Ipswich. Early ball into Delap, controls it and can't quite find the space for the shot. It's well dealt with there by Joachim Anderson. It's now with Lukic. It's in the left wing-back position here to Iwobi. Right-footed clearance into a central area. Looking for Wilson, played forward by Greaves. All as far as Smith Rowe. And it's now Fulham again on the ball. In their own half at the moment, so having to just start again from the back. Iwobi. Into Lukic, midway side the Ipswich half in the central area. Goes to his right hit to Castagna. Now Wilson on the right hand side, cutting onto that left foot of his and finding a delivery towards Jimenez. It's glanced on, but nowhere near goal. And the ball will roll out. It will just about roll out towards the corner flag there for a goal kick for Ipswich. 10 minutes in, and they still lead by a goal to 0. And you can sense the frustration starting to add up for Fulham. We made a change at half-time, changing shape, bringing off a centre-back for Smith Rowe. Big kick forward from the goal, kick up towards Smodics, header won by Robinson. Drops to the chest of Cayuste in the centre circle, still with Broadhead, who takes on one Fulham player, then lays it to his left to Davis. It's now Broadhead again on the halfway line with Cayuste. Playing it back 10 yards here to Greaves. Broadhead again, surrounded by Fulham shirts, and he's pulled down by one of them. And it's Lukic, who again I think avoids the yellow card, which surprises me because he's committed quite a few fouls in this game. And then from that free kick, they've just kicked it straight out of play for a throw for Fulham. Aiming for Leif Davis on the Ipswich left flank. It's now with Anderson on the Fulham right-hand side. Lukic outside the 18-yard box goes across here to Bassett. He will bring it forward, trying to chase away from Smodics. And he enters the Ipswich half on the near side and ends up going to his right to Kearney. 1-2 with Iwobi, still with Kearney, the captain. Lukic moves it onto his right there to Castagna. Advantage played as he was slightly caught there by Broadhead. Castagna. Kearney goes to his left here to Bassett. On once more to Robinson in the final third. Weak-footed cross with his right boot. It's not a bad ball as well, but it's well headed away by Greaves. Keeping it away from Jimenez. And it's a corner on the far side for Fulham. Usually left-footed Robinson, but that's a corker of a ball with his right. And like I say, I think it was actually Wilson who was the closest to it in the end for the header. And it'll be Wilson to cross this in. It'll be an in-swinger on that far side. He's definitely got a good cross on him, the Welshman. In it goes. It's a deep one to the far post. It's horridly deep. That is really bad. Straight out for a throw-in on the opposite side for Ipswich. That's poor. As in the stands at Craven Cottage, they've just shown him there. It is Ben Godfrey, who is obviously once of Everton. He went and joined Atalanta in Italy. Not quite works for him. Not really playing a lot of minutes. And it looks like he is going to join Ipswich Town on loan. That would be a fantastic sign. A very versatile Ben Godfrey. Plenty of Premier League experience as well. Lukic to his right. Midway side the Ipswich half. Everyone behind the ball for Ipswich. Delap out to the right hand side here to Wilson. The full back of Castagna overlaps. He doesn't use him. He goes inside instead to Kearney, who tries to play the reverse pass to Wilson. Well cut out in the end there by Broadhead, who can bring it away out to the Ipswich right. And goes into the middle to Morsey. Then back into Johnson in the defensive third. Into the middle to Cayuste. They definitely know how to knock it about, Ipswich. Like I said, they've not had the ball loads in this game, but when they have had it, they know how to play. They've got their patterns of play. As Greaves is caught in possession, and now Wilson plays it through for Jimenez on the right wing. Pulls it back for Smith Rowe on the edge of the box. Now Wilson out to the left to Iwobi, just on the edge of the area. Into the box he goes. On his left foot, goes for the shot, which he slices. And that'll be a goal kick for Ipswich. Just over half an hour left. It's still Fulham 0, Ipswich 1. Just needs to be careful there. Jacob Greaves overrunning it towards the halfway line. He was pickpocketed by Jimenez, who then played it through for Smith Rowe, who then went once more to Wilson, and eventually it was Iwobi who sliced it wide. Ball forward towards Delap. It runs through instead to Smodics, who's on the right wing, final third towards the corner flag here, all on his own. And his last touch does come off the Irishman. It's a throw-in for Fulham, but it's right near the corner flag. So they've been able to push up the pitch here. Ipswich. Throw-in for Robinson. Still not taken. Still not taken. Eventually takes it here to Jimenez, who chests it to Robinson, who then kicks it away poorly straight to Johnson, who can't quite take on Bassey, cleared up in the air by the Nigerian. Onto the halfway line where it's headed away by Greaves. Out to the Ipswich right again. Loose ball drops to Johnson, who will go back here into his own half to Wolfenden. It's now to the goalkeeper of Walton. And Ipswich are in possession. Like I said, they've not had loads of it, but they're comfortable when they've got it. More often than not, other than when Greaves gives it away just a couple of minutes ago. As he goes for a big kick out to the right-hand side. Johnson heads it into the middle. Can't quite find Delap. He's late on the scene. Anderson's there first, midway inside his own half. And it's now with Leno, the goalkeeper. Plays it to his right here to Castagna in the 18-yard box. Now finds Anderson, who's almost took up a right-back position himself here. And he'll bring it forward. It's Lukic exactly on the halfway line. Now just drifted into the centre circle. It's now Wilson who takes over. Still with Harry Wilson. Just drifting out towards the left-hand side. And here is Iwobi with everything to his right. Forward to Kearney. Chopped down there by O'Shea. And on the left-hand side, just outside the box, it will be a corner. It will be a free kick for Fulham. Won by Kearney. I believe it will be taken here by Wilson. Just a bit of a rash challenge there by Dara O'Shea, the number 26. 25 years of age. Scored 3 times in Burnley's relegation season last time out under Vincent Kompany. As Fulham are going to ready 2 more changes. 2 Brazilians as well are going to be coming on. Andreas Pereira for his 100th Fulham appearance. And they'll also be bringing in Rodrigo Muniz. Scored 8 in 8 between February and March last season in the Premier League. Got himself Player of the Month for March in 2024. So the 23-year-old will be coming on shortly. As from this left-hand side, it's going to either be a right foot of Smith Rowe or it'll be the left foot of Wilson. And it will be the left foot. And the ball goes in. Header away to the right-hand side here. Well won header. Still alive though for Fulham. Anderson in the right wing position goes inside to Iwobi, pocket of space for him in the box, and he lifts it to the far post for Smith Rowe, who heads it well wide of the goal. What an opportunity for the substitute Smith Rowe, who came on at half-time. Not scored since the start of November. Just given too much time on the edge of the area there, Iwobi, and he was just able to lift the ball to the far post, and arriving late with Smith Rowe. Bit of a diving header, but completely miscued it on the park. You'd be calling that a 50p header. And wide it goes. And the changes have been made. So Tom Kearney, the captain, off for Andreas Pereira, who was the only change from the Fulham team that drew 2-2 to Bournemouth, and the other change does see. I didn't quite see that second change. It's Muniz who come on, long ball for Ipswich, and the shot towards goal. Well saved by Leno. Out of nowhere, Nathan Broadhead almost scoring his first ever Premier League goal. It was a long ball forward by O'Shea, up towards Delap. Came off the head of Castagna, straight on the edge of the box for Broadhead. And with his right foot, he arrowed it towards the top right corner, but that's really well saved by Bernd Leno. He's hit that hard and true. And Leno, who's not had much to do in this game, has pulled off a really vital save for Fulham to keep this at 1-0. Out of nothing as well, that goal, that chance. That was almost a goal. It's going to be an in-swinger from Davis to the far post. Up towards Greaves, header won by Jimenez, throwing on the opposite side for Ipswich. And Iwobi was the other one to come off. So it's Kearney and Iwobi off for Pereira and Rodrigo Muniz. Stay with the two changes for Fulham just a moment ago. Long thrown by Cayuste to the near post, headed away there by Castagna, drops to Wilson, who can help it on into the Ipswich half, and he'll chase his own ball down, but it'll be Wolfenden to get there first, as of course we've got another Premier League game on this afternoon. The big one probably, Liverpool-Manchester United, and we'll go through both starting 11s in a moment as Bassey's battling with Schmodix. He sent him into his own 18-yard box here, and Bassey can deal with it and clear. Up to the halfway line to Muniz, who can get there ahead of O'Shea. Advantage played as he was kicked in the face. It drops to Smith Rowe. Wilson in the box on the left-hand side. He's tripped. Surely he's tripped. Oh, it's not been given by the referee. Oh, a goal kick given. Harry Wilson giving it to the referee, and he's very lucky that the referee turned his back there, because he probably should have been sent off for dissent there. Sent off for dissent. Well, yellow card in minimum. Wilson going for the shot. Oh, it's a foul! It's a foul! It's a penalty. How can the referee not see that? In normal time, our referees are the worst. They're so bad. Clearly clips Wilson, which makes his left leg collide with his right, which takes him to the ground, and that's the most obvious penalty you'll ever see. And how he's not given it, I don't know. Like I say, Harry Wilson's lucky the referee wasn't looking when he gave him a bit of a point and aggressive telling off. And the referee's going to be going over to the monitor to check this. Sent to the monitor by tonight's assistant, by today's VAR, Paul Tierney. And his assistant on VAR is Dan Cook. And I think this will be the easy overturn of a decision. I think this will be given as a penalty. Like I say, on the left-hand side of the box, trying to get forward, clipped by Morsey. And he's sent him to the floor. But the worrying part is, if this isn't a Premier League game, if this is a Championship game, a League One game, League Two, or whatever division in English football, he gets one look at it, and that's it. And the fact from his one look he's not been able to see that that is a foul is worrying. The referee, Darren Bond, is very fortunate that he has got a VAR to come and save his back here, as Wilson has really started to perform this season for Fulham. He's got 2 in his last 2 for goals, and he's starting to become a bit more of a big name player in this Fulham team, as the VAR check is completed and the penalty has been given. Sam Morsey, the Ipswich captain, goes into the book. Like I say, slightly concerning the referee didn't see that in real time, but we've got to the correct conclusion in the end. Marco Silva still not happy despite his team getting the penalty. I think his point is the fact it should have been given in the first place. But eventually, the penalty has been given by Darren Bond, and it will be a yellow card for Sam Morsey. So with a quarter of the game left, this is Fulham's way back in from 12 yards. This could be a big turning point in the game. It's his 7th booking of the season as well for Sam Morsey. And it is going to be their Mexican striker, Raul Jimenez. If he scores, he will match his tally for the entirety of last season. And we've only just got into the new year. He's got 2 in his last 5 against Bournemouth and Arsenal at home. They really need him today to step up and score this penalty kick. It's a straight run up to begin with. He then edges out to the left, runs towards the ball, and places it into the bottom left corner. And it's an equaliser for Fulham. It's come through a penalty, but they won't complain. They are level. Marco Silva trying to get his team back to the halfway line to restart this game as they look for a winner. Marco Silva not exactly pleased with the celebrations there. But Jimenez just a slightly stuttered run up, and it's just to the left side of the goal. It's not exactly in the corner. Walton had committed to the other side, and as he tried to readjust and dive to the other side, it was just too far away from him. I've seen better penalties. I think he's rather lucky there, Jimenez, that the goalkeeper had just started to lean over to his other side, because if he'd committed to the other side straight away, it's a pretty easy save. But no, just went the other way, tried to readjust and go the way the ball was heading, but couldn't quite do so. And it's a goal for Fulham. Jimenez scores. It's 1-1. Ipswich want to get back ahead. Delap in the box. Goes down himself. Penalty given. 1 minute, there's a penalty for Fulham. The next, Ipswich have one of their own. Marco Silva can't believe it. Castagne, the one who was guilty of the foul. Delap's the one who went down. Broadhead had the ball, slipped it through for Delap, touched with his right foot, slightly got away from him. But as he tried to get that next touch, he just got there ahead of Castagne, who I think caught the number 19. Looks like a penalty to me, just got there. Second best, Castagne. Yeah, Delap just got that next touch on the ball, which didn't look likely because his first touch was so poor. But a rush of blood to the head from the Fulham fullback. Going in on Delap, catching the striker. And it's a penalty for Ipswich again. The penalty they won against Chelsea in their last game was rather controversial, many thinking it was a bit soft for a penalty, but that one was given and that one was scored by Delap, as it was won by Delap, and it's the same scenario here. This one's been won by Delap. Can he score it again? This will be his 8th goal in the Premier League already this season. Scored against Fulham in the reverse fixture at Portman Road at the end of August. And this will be to put his team back in the lead almost immediately after being pulled back to 1-1. It's a big moment in the game. Delap with his right foot goes to the top right corner, fired home. Leno went the wrong way, and even if he went the right way, he's getting nowhere near that. That is a confidently struck penalty. And Ipswich are back in the lead minutes after conceding a penalty at the other end themselves. Liam Delap with his right foot, bending it into that top right corner. That is superb. Just so powerfully hit. And Kieran McKenna watches those limbs in the Ipswich away end to his right-hand side. It's a 4-hour round trip for the Tractor Boys, and it looks like it's going to be worthwhile at the moment. They lead again. It's Fulham 1, Ipswich Town 2. What a game. The goals have happened so quick, I've got to change it from 1-0 to 2-1. 2 penalties, and to me, they both look like penalties. The first one wasn't given originally. VAR had to intervene as the goal scorer of the first goal for Ipswich has replaced it. Sammy Szmodics comes off, and so does Jens Kajuste, the Swede on loan from Napoli, and he's replaced by another loanee of Calvin Phillips. and it is Jack Taylor, the number 14, to replace Sammy Szmodic. So just shoring it up in the midfield a little bit more, Ipswich, as they've got another lead to protect. The first lead they had was obviously cancelled out by Jimenez, but then they've regained another lead a couple of minutes later. It's been chaotic the last 5 minutes, and after it all just seems to have settled down slightly. It is Fulham 1, Ipswich 2. We've got 17 minutes left of the 90 to go. In the defensive third for Fulham, it's Robinson, 1-2 with Smith Rowe, then Robinson forward again, but straight to Phillips, who just clips it down the right-hand side here, and it'll be Jack Taylor, the substitute, to chase it down. Bassey's touch is heavy, but he can clear it and keep it in, and it comes off Johnson, and it'll be a Fulham throw-in in a left-back position on this near side. Marco Silva has been frustrated the entire game, but I can imagine he really wants to lose his cool at the moment after winning a penalty of his own and scoring it, and then giving away one as well, and conceding it. That's a foul there, I think, on Jimenez, or was that a throw-in? Phillips goes down, holding his foot. Just come off the bench as well, Calvin Phillips. So one start in his last 4 now. And that was away at Arsenal, as he came in for the suspended Sam Morsey. So the number 8, Calvin Phillips, back to his feet. It's a throw-in on the halfway line for Fulham. Robinson, who's took the captain's armband after Kearney's come off. He loses out to Johnson, who then loses out himself to Smith Rowe, but then wins it back on halfway, and then plays it inside to Broadhead, pokes it towards the lap, just away from him, and it goes through to Bassey. And it's now fallen back on the ball. An almost opportunity to get forward there for Ipswich, as Anderson goes long out to the right-hand side towards Wilson, heads it inside to Jimenez, who is met by the tackle of Greaves. The ball in the air is headed on by Muniz, and then Pereira pokes it on for Wilson as the flag stays down, and he kicks it out for a throw-in to avoid the goal kick. So decent work there by Harry Wilson, the one who won the penalty. Didn't start any of the first 13 league games, Harry Wilson, but he's now starting to be a bit more bit more of use in this Fulham squad. Throw-in taken down the line for Ipswich, headed on by Delap, only as far as Anderson. It's now Lukic, who's not quite been involved in this game as he was in the first half. It seemed like everything was going through Sasha Lukic. 15 minutes to go. Still 2-1 to Ipswich. Robinson overruns it, tackled by Morsey. Now in the centre circle with Taylor. Forward to Delap. Touch away from Anderson, fouled by the Dane. Free kick for Ipswich, and he's had his number today. He's been really good, Liam Delap, against Joachim Anderson. So again, it's pretty central, this free kick, about 40 or so yards out. So they're going to have to try and create their angle of their own, or just clip it out to the left-hand side, which they'll do. Left-hand side in the box. Muniz wins the header. Controlled by Phillips, as the flag was up anyway. So it's a free kick for Fulham for offside. They have got the second most goals in the league from the 76th minute onwards, Fulham. Only Bournemouth have scored more late on with 12. Fulham have scored 10. With the right back Castagne just in front of the 18-yard box. He's been forced to go back to Leno. It's now with Calvin Bassey, the left centre-back, who was at fault for the first goal, failing to clear his lines. And it also deflected off him into the goal, which was probably the unfortunate part of it, but the clearance wasn't. Forward, comes off the head there of Davis, took over by Morsey, but the touch is heavy. It's won by Pereira, who's then brought down from behind by Morsey. And that'll be a free kick for Fulham. 76 minutes played, just over, and then Pereira goes for a big switch out to the left towards nobody, and that'll be a throw in midway inside their own half here for Ipswich on this near side. A really poor ball that from Andres Pereira, who's usually better known for his good passing, not his poor passing where it goes out of play like that. Throw-in, headed forward by Lukic, headed away by O'Shea down the Ipswich right. No one will chase it in a pink shirt. It'll run through for Calvin Bassey. It's now Sasha Lukic into Smith Rowe. Returns it to Lukic. Nice bit of play as he runs beyond the halfway line here. Keeps away from Jack Taylor. Lukic then runs into Ben Johnson. And it's been given as a foul. Stopping the Sasha Lukic run there, Ben Johnson. And he's going to be booked for his actions as well. Again, just seems to have fallen over himself there. I don't think there was much in that, personally. Wilson with the left-footed ball into the box. Headed on by Jimenez and just wide of the post. Looking to try and get a ball back in play as quickly as possible. Crossed in right on the penalty spot. So 12 yards out. He's just tried to head it into the bottom left corner. Heading the ball just wide of that left-hand post. He's already got one today, Raul Jimenez, from the penalty spot. Almost got his second there as Fulham make another change. Sasha Lukic, the central midfielder, comes off. And Adama Traore will be coming on. Scored the equaliser for Fulham against Ipswich in the reverse game at Portman Road. So it's another attacking change for the home side. It's going to be two from the away side. First, we'll see Nathan Broadhead come off. And he'll be replaced by Jack Clark, who comes on for his 16th Premier League appearance of the season. Not started any of the last 5, though. The man they brought in from Sunderland. And the second change, we'll see Ben Johnson come off for Wes Burns. That was the straight swap today in the starting 11. Wes Burns started the Chelsea game, but this time Ben Johnson has. But they've swapped for each other again for the last 10 minutes of this game. Just over 10 minutes of the 90 to go. A long goal kick from Walton up towards O'Shea. Header won though by Jimenez. Header away though by Greaves, out to the Ipswich right, headed down by Taylor to Burns. Quickly clears it down the Ipswich right, no one there to chase it. It goes right towards the corner flag, and it'll be Bassey on his own to keep it in for Fulham and build from the back. With Leno, the goalkeeper. He's going to kick this long. Down the middle of the pitch towards Muniz. Goes beyond him and headed backwards by Greaves. Wilson's chasing it, but Wolfenden deals with it really well and clears. Poor touch though by the Chester Phillips. Pereira forward towards Traore. Another great first touch as he's just come off the bench, but he still keeps it away from Clark. And it's now on the halfway line with Anderson. Bassey. They've got to try and come and get themselves back in this game whilst trailing. Fulham. Pereira, first time ball out down the right hand side in behind for Traore, overhit. And even for his speed, that's a bit too much for Adama Traore. His contract does expire at the end of this season, the Spaniard, but does have a 1-year extension option. Came through at Barcelona's academy. Adama Traore last played for Spain's national team in September 2021. Only started 2 of the last 11 games now in the Premier League. Adama Traore. Bassey heads away from the long ball forward for Ipswich. Smith Rowe into Muniz. Tries to touch it into Wilson, but cut out by Phillips on halfway. Wolfenden on this near side. O'Shea down the line looking for Delap. Dealt with by Bassey, who goes over the challenger Delap. And that'll be a free kick for the home side. It's now with Anderson just in front of the 18-yard box. Fulham pushing for this equalising goal. Like I said, they finished 13th last season, Fulham. And they don't want another season ending that way. They're currently 9th at the moment, and it'll stay that way, of course, with this defeat. That currently stands as Davis just about clears it away, goes across the pitch there, and Burns at right wing back can clear it down the line. But it's Bassey who deals with it originally, but then loses out, can't quite keep it in play. Seen away for a throw-in by Jack Taylor. And with 8 minutes of the 90 to go, it's still Fulham 1, Ipswich 2. It'll be their 4th win of the season, 3 of them away. Against Spurs, Wolves and Fulham. Long throw and headed away by Robinson. Headed inside by Phillips. Head on once more by Jack Clark to Jack Taylor, who kicks out to the left-hand side. That's a brilliant ball into the path of Davis. Takes a touch in the box and shoots, and that is blazed high over the crossbar into the Ipswich Town fans on the right side of the stand. He's definitely hit better than that. Leif Davis, who's got the one goal so far this season. That came in the 1-1 home draw at the start of November against Leicester City. Scored just twice last season, their promotion to the Premier League, scoring against Bristol and Southampton at home. Jimenez holds it up well and then sends it to the right to Wilson. Now into the path of Traore into the final third. Can he get across into the box? Turns away from Jack Clark and plays it into Wilson once more. Traore takes on Jack Clark. Edge of the box, left-footed ball goes in. It's a dangerous one. Glanced away for a corner by Dara O'Shea. Needing maximum concentration here, the Tractor Boys, who are in full belief that they can survive this season. And 3 points like these would take them a long way to hit that mark, that landmark. Pereira crosses in swinger to the far post. A very easy catch and collection for Christian Walton. Frustrating, really, for Fulham fans, that. You're looking for a goal and then your corner kick taker just sends it straight into the goalkeeper's arms. They won 16 away games last season, Ipswich, losing just the... they lost just one home game. So last season they were better at home. It seems like this season they've been better away from home, which is a contrast as Delap is battling with Bassey, tripped by Robinson. No. Right in front of the Ipswich fans, and it's going to be a goal kick for Fulham. Delap thinking he'd won his team a free kick there, but the assistant referee on the near side was the closest to it, and he didn't flag for anything, so the referee didn't give anything. It's now Fulham on the ball, starting from the back with Anderson. Big switch out to the left. It's a huge kick forward, and Jimenez can head it on down the line, but no one's in a Fulham shirt chasing it. And it'll be Wes Burns to clear it at right wing back, but straight to the chest of Pereira. Free ball for Morsey, who kicks it away to the centre circle. Header won by Castagna, then collected by Pereira, and it's going to be Fulham again, starting on halfway. Five minutes of the 90, plus added on time. It's Andres Pereira on the ball on his 100th appearance for Fulham. Going 5 yards to his left to Bassey. It's now Smith Rowe. Just about shrugging off the pressure from Jack Taylor. It's now Bassey again in the final third on this near side. Goes to his right to Smith Rowe. On once more to Andres Pereira. Anderson. To Castagna. On the far side now with Traore. Running one-on-one with Davis. Goes on the outside of Davis. Davis slides in and gets the last touch, and it's going to be a corner for Fulham. Running out of time here. It's going to be an in-swinger from Harry Wilson, who needs to deliver some goods here now for the home side. Goes short to Traore, now on the angle to Pereira. Crosses right-footed, comes off Jack Taylor, right in the box. It's in the mix, and it's cleared by O'Shea in the 6-yard box. If that dropped to a Fulham player, could have been a different story. It's now on the halfway line with Robinson, who restarts with Leno midway inside the Fulham half. And it is hands on deck for Ipswich. Anderson, plenty of time on the ball, needs to find the right pass. Finds Castagna. It's now with Traore. Brought on to cause mayhem and havoc. And he's doing just that. 1-2 Jimenez. Lays it off to the edge of the box to Harry Wilson. Comes off the shoulder of Wolfenden. Now it's with Phillips. Into the path of Jack Clark. Heavy touch around Castagna, but he touches it out of play. Runs out of room on the far side. That's pretty poor from Jack Clark. And it's Fulham again to go again. Robinson linking up with Smith Rowe. Robinson delivers but miscues it completely over the top of the goal and behind for a goal kick. 3 minutes left to go here at Craven Cottage. It's Fulham 1, Ipswich 2. Smodek's got the goal scoring started in the 38th minute of the game. Deflected off Bassey, who failed to clear, but then they were pegged back to 1-1 with 20 minutes to go. Jimenez from the penalty spot, but then they won a penalty of their own. Liam Delap scoring it after winning it, and he is now going to be replaced for the last couple of minutes. Liam Delap will be coming off it for Ali Al-Hamadi. the first Iraqi footballer to play in the Premier League, born in Iraq despite moving to England at the age of 1 to Liverpool during the early stages of the Iraq War. And what a career he's found himself having into the Premier League, signed from League 2 Wimbledon this time last year after scoring 17 goals in the first half of the season for Wimbledon. And now he's coming on again in the Premier League, yet to start, but this is his 11th appearance off the bench in the league this season. Two minutes plus added on time. We'll probably get about 5 or so minutes of added on time with the VAR checks that we've had for the 2 penalties. Fulham in their own 18-yard box here. Castagne playing it across here to Anderson, avoiding the press of Al-Hamadi. It's now Bassi on this near side. Down the line it goes here to Jimenez, the goal scorer of their penalty. Dispossessed strongly by Wes Burns. And it's now Al-Hamadi who keeps it away from Pereira, but then loses out to Anderson. Then Jimenez takes over in the centre circle, trying to play it out to the right-hand side towards Traore, but it's a short ball, and now Ipswich can attack themselves. Jack Clark's got Leif Davis on the overlap, takes it on himself. Jack Clark with the shot off the post. And 2 sliding challenges in from Wilson and Davis. It drops to Wilson, and Ipswich almost getting the winning goal there to put this game beyond any doubt. Jack Clark cutting in and striking the left-sided post. And it's now Smith Rowe. Great outside of the boot ball to the right-hand side to Jimenez, who's alone. Angles tight, chops onto his left foot. Back onto his right. Is he tripped? Yes, he is, and it's another penalty. 3 penalties given. Davis wagging his finger no. But Darren Bond points to the spot once again in the 90th minute of the game. It's a brilliant ball in behind by Smith Rowe with the outside of his boot. Jimenez, the angle was tight. You thought he was just going to pull it across, but he decided to cut in and then cut back out. And as he was going back onto his right foot, he just touches the ball away from Davis, who then trips him over. It's definitely another penalty in this game. It's just a lazy leg. It's a really lazy leg from Leif Davis. And literally 30 seconds before the penalty was given, Ipswich had just hit the post at the other end. And now it looks like they might be conceding another penalty and another equaliser to make it 2-2. We've just hit the 90th minute. It'll be Raul Jimenez with the responsibility again. 7 minutes are to be added on. Raul Jimenez to save Fulham again in this game. Right-footed from 12 yards, stuttering run-up, and lifts it into the top right corner. Different side of the goal, but the same result. It's Fulham 2, Ipswich 2. 3 of the 4 goals today have been penalties. Both of Fulham's goals have come from 12 yards out. And that is how harsh the Premier League can be. Hitting the post at one end, conceding a penalty at the other. It is just how difficult and how the Premier League has no sympathy on any team. And here at Craven Cottage, as we are into added on time, it's Fulham 2, Ipswich 2. What a game we've had here. Before, obviously, the main event of Liverpool-Manchester United at 4:30. 6 minutes of the 7 added on, left to play. That's in the 18-yard box for Fulham's Joachim Andersen. It's a ball forward to the halfway line. It's gone beyond the halfway line and into Wolfenden, who can keep it away from Muniz. It's now Walton, the goalkeeper. First time clearance up into the air towards the halfway line. Headed out wide left by Pereira. Controlled by Wes Burns for Ipswich in his own half. Trying to get away from Smith Rowe. Down the line it goes towards Al-Hamadi. And it's overhit. And he can't quite keep it in. And it's a goal kick. And there is Liam Delap on the bench. He looks rather annoyed about that equaliser being conceded. It's Joachim Andersen still in the 18-yard box for Fulham. Long it goes out to the right-hand side towards Traore, who glances it on and tries to run around Davis, and he does, right on the corner flag. He can cross it in. Muniz with the acrobatic attempt, he misses it completely. Does run through for Anthony Robinson, cuts inside, but then is tackled by Taylor, and it works its way to Morsey, who slide Big tackle on him from Pereira. Gets him yellow carded. Free kick for Ipswich. Andres Pereira believed that he'd won the ball there, but the referee says no. And it remains 2-2 with 4.5 minutes left to play. Do we have one more twist in this tale? Ball down the line for Ipswich. Can't be helped on by Burns. It will be chased down by Jack Taylor. But Calvin Bassey right on the corner flag can shield it away for a throw-in. For Fulham. Long throw by the captain Robinson. Headed away though there by O'Shea. Al-Hamadi trying to link up with Jack Taylor. Pushes Bassey in the back. And that'll be a free kick for Fulham just inside their 18-yard box. Just a little bit too aggressive there. Ali Al-Hamadi. Bassey with a big kick forward. Up towards Muniz. Heads it on out wide left to Jimenez. It drops straight to his chest. That's brilliant. Jimenez on the left wing. Trying to go around the outside of O'Shea. Last touch off the Irishman. It's a corner for Fulham on this near side. If a team's going to win it, it does look like it's going to be the home side. Jimenez is on a hat-trick as well. Yet to score a hat-trick for Fulham. It's his third brace for the club since joining in the July of 2023 from Wolves. Andres Pereira, right-footed in-swinger here. Needs to be the right ball. Into the near post. It's shocking. Headed away, but straight to Smith Rowe. So still alive for Fulham. Quick 1-2 with Robinson. It's Smith Rowe on the left-hand side. Working it to the original corner taker of Pereira. Back through for Smith Rowe. Made a run down the line. Keeping it away from Taylor. Go back here into Robinson. Anderson. Out to the right now to Harry Wilson. Still plenty of bodies in the box here for Fulham. Robinson furthest wide left is Pereira. Onto his right foot. The delivery goes into the box. Headed away by Greaves. Looks as Wilson who heads it back in there. Towards Jimenez who challenges. Greaves wins it. And there's a foul. Jimenez fouling Greaves as he won the header. And with just over 2 minutes left of this game, it's still Fulham 2, Ipswich 2. 3 goals in this second half, all coming from the penalty spot. Even though it could have been more, I'm sure Ipswich will take the point here. Fulham are a good side. So Walton with that free kick takes it towards the Ipswich right. It's a high ball. It's too high. And now to play for a throw-in for Fulham. Midway inside their own half on the near side. Quickly taken to Bassey. 90 seconds to go. Will we get more drama? Bassey gets it long. Up towards Muniz, who does flick it on, but he goes behind Wilson. Cleared by Davis, but it's a hurried one. But it does drop in the end to Taylor. He tries to go back to the goalkeeper, and it's just reached him. Almost cut out by Harry Wilson. That could have been a monumental error from the substitute Jack Taylor, who midway inside his own half decides to go all the way back towards his goalkeeper, and Wilson sliding, but not getting there. What a let-off that is. Less than a minute to go. It's Calvin Bassey on the Fulham left. Long again. Up into the box towards Muniz. Great ball. It's headed down. Smith Rowe nearly gets there. Cleared by Wolfenden. Still alive. Jimenez on the left wing. Skips beyond 2 challenges and finds Pereira. Now Robinson. One-on-one with Burns. Try to take him on. Goes back instead to Bassey, who's got an angle to cross. Decides to go to Robinson instead, who will then cross right-footed. It's not a great ball. It's cleared by O'Shea. And it's a throw-in for Fulham again. There's a check here. Handball check. Off Wolfenden. Didn't look like much. There's Robinson. He glides that in, and that is going to be an easy catch for Walton, who drops to the floor. And that's a bit of a waste there for Anthony Robinson, as the Fulham supporters will be aware that time was running out and has probably ran out by now. Christian Walton, the goalkeeper, will take his time here, the 29-year-old. And he will kick it out with his left boot. It's a big kick, headed away by Bassey. Controlled by Smith Rowe. brought to the ground by Phillips. Free kick for Fulham midway inside their own half. Do they have enough time to do anything? Because we have ticked over the 7 added on. It looks like Fulham are going to send everyone forward, and Leno is just going to absolutely pump this as far forward as possible. Leno plays it forward into the box. Fulham players chase it down. It bounces around, drops for Muniz, whose shot is saved at the near post. Really well held by Walton, because with the period of the game we're in and the tension and the nerves, it's easy to spill those sort of shots. But he was able to keep a hold of it. And it is full time here at Craven Cottage. It's more poor points dropped for Fulham. Too many games this season against teams below them and near the bottom where they're not picking up all 3 points. And in a game where both battled well, they both come away with a point each. Fulham will continue to chase those European spots. But again, drawing games like this will not help their case of getting that European football for the first time since 2009. But in this game, it was dominance from Fulham in the first half, but it was Ipswich who took the lead. Sammy Szmodics in the 38th minute. A ball in the box by Broadhead was helped onto the crossbar by Ben Johnson, who was battling with Robinson at the far post. It hit off the crossbar, and then Bassey failed to clear it, and Szmodics had a free shot at goal which deflected off Bassey and into the back of the net, and they gave Ipswich a half-time lead. And Fulham continued to dominate the possession despite Ipswich having slight chances on the break. And with 20 minutes to go, a penalty, 1 of 3, given away by Sam Morsey, clipping the leg of Harry Wilson, and Jimenez dispatched. But 2 minutes later, Liam Delap was played through in the box, cutting onto his right foot, got there ahead of Castagna, who put a challenge in on him, and that challenge was enough for the penalty to be given. And Delap absolutely rifled it into the top right corner to regain Ipswich's lead just 2 minutes after losing it. But then 20 minutes later, into the first minute of added on time, yet another penalty was given, the third of the day, and it was Raul Jimenez to score it again into the top right corner. He won it, he was fouled by Davis, and he scored it. But just before that penalty to make it 2-2, Jack Clark for Ipswich on his right foot, just outside the box, wrapped the shot onto the left-hand post as it was aiming towards the bottom left corner, and literally less than 30 seconds later, Fulham went up the other end and got themselves a penalty kick. It shows how harsh the Premier League can be. It doesn't have any sympathy for anyone, and Ipswich have learnt that the hard way today, as at Craven Cottage, at full time after a very eventful second half with 3 penalties scored. It finishes Fulham 2, Ipswich Town 2. What a game. I've enjoyed that. I didn't really know what this game was going to bring. I didn't want to do the Liverpool-Manchester United game because I just didn't think that was going to bring in many people, because, you know, so many people do their own live streams for the big game. So I thought I'll do the other game, which might not, you know, obviously have as much interest as Liverpool against Manchester United. But that was brilliant. Like I say, first half was pretty much a bit of attack versus defence, but, you know, Ipswich certainly looked like they could play. That's for sure. But it was mainly Fulham. But then that second half was chaotic. 3 penalties given, 2 for Fulham, which was both scored by Raul Jimenez, who now has 8 goals for the season in the league. He only scored 7 in the entirety of last season, so he's doing well for his numbers, the Mexican. And then, Delap, who made it 2-1, 2 minutes after Ipswich had conceded the equaliser. Chaotic and a lot of mayhem, but in the end, it ends all square. Great commentary, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Great commentary. Thank you very much. Thanks to everyone who did watch. If you have enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe. Hopefully, now, I can try and bring a commentary every week or two. I've got weekends off, so as long as I work on my notes throughout the week, I should be able to commentate hopefully once every week, once every 2 weeks. And hopefully we'll be covering and commentating on more games like that. Loads of goals, loads of drama. And in the end, it's a game that ends 2-2 and a point each. It does mean that Ipswich remain in the bottom 3, but they are level on points with Wolves, who are in 17th, and Ipswich are now 1 point behind Everton in 16th, and for Fulham, after that point, they are now 6 off Chelsea in 4th position. So both teams with different aims, but both just a little bit off where they want to be. But if you did enjoy, make sure you do like and subscribe. If you haven't already, notifications on so you know exactly when my next live commentary is. But here at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham who were frustrated for the majority of the game. They still didn't get the result they wanted. They went behind in the first half, got themselves back level in the second, conceded a penalty of their own 2 minutes later, which meant they were trailing again. But right towards the death, a third penalty of the game was won, and a second one of the game was scored by Raul Jimenez, which meant it ended all square, as here at Craven Cottage it finishes Fulham 2, Ipswich Town 2.